Welcome back to Estate Agent Showdown. This is a special episode actually, and it's one that I thought over Christmas, going into the new year, we've filmed 30 different episodes with lots of brilliant guests, if I'm completely honest. And I wanted to kind of reduce it down because I think there's so much noise out there in every industry, let alone the property industry. And from my perspective, one of the most destructive ways of moving forward is having so much noise and so little action. This is about you taking away the bite-sized chunks, 4 key pillars, which I believe will help you not just get going this year, it will make your year successful. So here we go. The real estate agency landscape in 2026 is no longer about who can shout the loudest. Do you remember those days? Pages and pages of advertising in the newspapers, estate agents telling everybody how great they are. It's not about that anymore. It's about who can provide the most clarity. And clarity is a massive part of what I'm injecting into my group, the Gigs Group, this year. After years and years of noise, different brands, and you could almost say fragmentation, the noise can seep in to your business because it's seeped in to your mindset. And when you're not clear, nobody else around you is going to be clear either. Your clients, your team, who you want to attract, it all falls into this foggy, muddy area where you just get lost. So this episode is all about helping you to build clarity. And that's where you've got to start in your market. You've got to stand out. After a year of intense, fun, inspiring debates on the Estate Agent Showdown, the data's in. We've spent hours, or Ollie spent hours, looking over some of this content because we wanted to kind of draw out the key points, the things that are going to make a difference to you in your agency, in your business moving forward. But let's be honest, I mentioned the word fragmentation earlier. The industry has fragmented. And to lead in this market, we have to move away from the habits of the past decade. I think on one of the most recent episodes that I've shared with Steve Carroll and Tony Morris, as Steve said right at the start, he said 2025 was different to 2024. 2024 was different to 2023, and so on. As the markets change, what I'm seeing is that a lot of the habits of estate agents hasn't changed. It's still in the past. You need to be ahead. So today I want to share with you 4 strategic pillars that I believe will define the most successful estate agencies this year. And pillar 1, quite simply, is the value-based fee structure. I've had guests on the show who stand their ground because they believe in their value. And I've had guests on the show who charge a fee which, in my opinion, is well below the value that they deliver. But what's the difference? Well, first, this fee is key. It's the era of standard and percentage fees. It's really over, guys. In a transparent market, your fee is directly linked to your ability to articulate, and I call this the ROI for clients, the return on their investment in you, in what you offer, in your proposition, in your ability, in your confidence. All of those key areas you have to be able to demonstrate. When I've worked with clients over the years, and I'm talking 30 years, when I've worked with estate agencies, they only tend to charge half of what they believe that they're worth. So if you only believe you're worth 1%, you end up going lower than that fee in the first place. And that's because you don't understand the tangible value that you can offer a client. You're not able to demonstrate it. So if you don't believe it, you won't achieve it. If a client's pushing for a discount, it's a sign that their perceived value hasn't been established. So we need to stop selling listings and start selling the net outcome. Their outcome, the net outcome. Their outcome is this move that they're looking to achieve. The net outcome is what goes into the back of their pocket at the end of the sale. And I've talked about this for decades. If you can't demonstrate that, then you need to stop right now and look at what value you actually bring. There was a client that's in Ireland that messaged me over Christmas and they wanted to catch up for a call. We did that literally this week. And one of her questions to me was, what are your quick wins to raising my fees? Which made me laugh really, because anything quick is normally very short-lived. And speed is only achieved with practice. If you really understand the fact that you need to slow down first to speed up. So you need to get things right, which is normally your belief, your proposition, your value. And when you can demonstrate that with data, how your specific process results in a higher walkaway figure for the seller, the fee becomes a secondary conversation. And there's an episode with Charlie Lamdin and Chris Watkins where Charlie is obsessed with the journey, the process. And you guys want to watch that one, because I'm telling you now, though he's not particularly well liked by certain corners of the industry, he comes up with a really good point. If you're going out there just to talk about the highest price and the lowest fee, you are going to get further and further behind this year. What he talked about in that episode was key, and I'll touch on that a bit further down the line. I really want you to hear this. If you're an estate agent juggling a separate CRM, a standalone website, and these different marketing and prospecting tools, it's time to see what Iceberg Digital, the #1 operating system for estate agents, can do for you. At Gigs & Co. and within the Gigs Group, we use Iceberg, and it's absolutely out of this world. It's a complete ecosystem that makes your agency more efficient and more human focused. We've got AI scouts working behind the scenes, finding the full address details of properties on the market with other agents, matching them to our contact database, and even writing the email outreach. No human can keep up with that, and trust me, it's changed the game for us. So if you're prepared to make big changes to how you work and want to lead the way, just head over to iceberg-digital.co.uk today. And as a listener, use the code GIGSSHOW when you inquire for an exclusive perk on your setup. You're gonna love it. So pillar 2, precision marketing over mass noise. Estate agents, they always used to open their businesses and it was like, oh, we're going to offer 0 VAT. We're going to offer no fees for the first 100 houses that we put on the market. They just went out and they got their scattergun and they sprayed it around the market. And while they're spraying it around the market 20, 30 years ago, they may have got some success. But what they didn't build was a fan base. What they didn't build was a clear, defined brand for a clear, defined market. And that is one of the keys that you got to look at now. You can start a business in a estate agency and succeed in a very short space of time if you niche your market down. We've seen a massive saturation in general social media content. In fact, every time I open my Instagram account, it's either got dodgy golf videos, you thought I was going to say something else there, or it's got estate agents walking around houses, talking about themselves, talking about the property, and I don't know whether that's really going to cut the mustard going forward into 2026. You need to stand out. The gold standard is targeted intention marketing. It's about being present actually when the consumer is raising their hand. Not interfering, not getting in their way, not boring the pants off of them. This just means a heavy focus on things like Google search intent, local SEO. We aren't looking for likes anymore, guys. How often I've told this story is that most of the clients that I work with one-to-one very rarely comment or even like the posts that I've been doing for the last decade. They've just come through this principle of the 7-11 4, if you like, which Daniel Priestley's talked often about, whereby people just see you on different platforms, different places on regular occasions. So we are looking for the motivated seller who is actively searching for an expert in their specific postcode. I know some agents have really got this right, where they've actually looked at their micro market, if you liked, and they are known in this smaller area whereby they're intensely working to provide value, relevant content in a specific area where they are the expert. Chris Watkins has always used the term local or digital mayor. That's kind of what you've got to be if you're using social media. You've got to be the one that people know automatically, subliminally. You're there in their minds before they've even decided to go to market. They just know they've got to talk to you. And again, if I go back 14 years ago when I first launched my own estate agency after being in the corporate world, not to be seen anywhere on social media, I was right there in the hearts and the minds of my community, whether it was doing stuff with the schools, sponsoring fates, just generally, I was the community agent. And if I'm honest, do I do that anymore? No. Is that something we need to be doing again? Yeah, more so. We've done lots more behind the scenes, which is great from a word of mouth perspective, but we also need to be visible, living our values online, delivering content that's valuable to our clients. And remember, not everybody, there's a classic, isn't there, situation where but you can't be liked by everyone. And you've got to think about that as an estate agent. If you're listening or watching to this, who do you actually want to work with? What's the profile of client that you want to work with? Zone in on that. What kind of things do they love? What kind of things do they not like? How do you build your profile and make sure that your sphere of content resonates and goes right through to that particular audience? Pillar 3 is the human AI operating system. My God, has AI exploded. Not just in general with usability, more people picking up ChatGPT, for example, than going to Google. It's everywhere. It's been everywhere on the podcast. It's been in nearly every conversation that people are having outside of the industry and inside the industry. But I have this great belief that technology is no longer a disruptor. And you remember you used to hear that, disruptor. In fact, it's a well-used phrase. I see it as an assistant. The most efficient estate agencies this year, or estate agents, are those that have systemised the predictable to humanise the exceptional. I can't remember who quoted that. It may have been Mark Burgess. But think about that quote again. Systemise the predictable to humanise the exceptional. We are talking about human AI operating systems. We use AI to manage the heavy lifting, the lead qualification at times, the initial inquiries, and the routine updates. We can sometimes feel overwhelmed about dealing with the minutiae, the small things that take up so much time that can be done by systems, processes which have got AI functionality, helping clients have a smoother journey to approach the conversation with you. So this isn't actually about replacing people. It's about liberating them. In my group, in my estate agency, that's a huge part of my vision. I want my guys in conversation, but at the right time, with the right people, giving the right value. It should allow your team to spend their time where a machine can't compete, in higher level negotiation and a deeper level of empathy. AI doesn't have the empathy. It doesn't have those feelings. And I shared in some of the pods towards the end of the year, last year, about the John Lewis Christmas advert. Many people who watched that advert felt something. AI can't feel that stuff. It can't make you feel that stuff. In fact, I bet, like me, when you're seeing posts, videos on the likes of Instagram or LinkedIn or even TikTok, your first thought is this real? I believe that you need to step into the real world again and use the virtual world, the AI assistants, to grow your conversations. So think about that as the pillar that we've just described. Pillar 4, the personal brand and it's your primary asset. When I left Countrywide, coming up to 14 years ago, the MD at the time asked me, "Why are you leaving? What is going to be your USP?" And my only answer to that at the time, which would have been, "I'm not really sure," is me. I'm the USP. It's me. The client's going to get me start to finish. So finally, we have to acknowledge that the brand is the person and not the company. Kirsty Frank said this really well in the branding conversation that we had with herself and Simon Ledbetter, is that the company brand attracts, the personal brand converts. Whether you're independent or corporate, the 2026 consumer is looking for a local authority. Your personal reputation built through consistent, high-value content and local community engagement is going to be your most valuable asset. People are looking for an expert that they can trust, and that trust is built through your personal brand long before the first phone call. It harps back to what I was just talking to you about with the 7-Eleven 4. You have to be in the minds of your customer, not just any customer, your perfect client. That's what you need to focus on this year, guys. It's going to take a switch back from some of the old habits that are very tempting to lean on when those old habits have died a long time ago. So creating new habits can be tough. And if you need some assistance with doing that, obviously just reach out to me. I look forward to helping you further. Our suggestions, they're basically requirements for growth in 2026. The agents who focus on value, precision, and human connection, they're going to be the ones who will define the future of this industry. Let's go to work.